Hello guys, in this video I will be learning 3 new words: laborious, nitpicking, and untangle. Okay, I'll start with laborious. The word laborious evokes the image of effort, sweat, and perhaps a sigh of exhaustion. It's like imagining yourself pushing a giant boulder uphill or sifting through a mountain of paperwork with no end in sight. Let's explore 3 commonly used meanings of laborious in today's language, each with its unique shade of meaning. Meaning number 1, requiring considerable time and effort. In this sense, laborious describes tasks or processes that demand a lot of work and time to complete. They often tedious and wearisome, requiring patience and endurance. I've got 2 pictures to visualize the meaning, and I will stare at them for some time. Let's get to examples in programming. Writing and debugging thousands of lines of code for a complex software application can be a laborious process. Regular life. Preparing a detailed and accurate tax return is often considered a laborious task. More regular life. Organizing a decade's worth of family photos into albums is both nostalgic and laboriously time-consuming. We've got 2 synonyms here: arduous, and tedious. Let me check how to say arduous correctly.
Has to complete an arduous, complicated.
Arduous.
It's amazing to go through the arduous trek of
Arduous. Okay. Arduous shares a similar meaning, but often emphasizes the difficulty and challenge involved in the effort, while laborious focuses on the time-consuming and monotonous aspect. Tedious is very similar to laborious, but leans more towards the boring and monotonous side of tasks without necessarily implying they're difficult. So basically, laborious combines arduous and tedious together. Meaning number 2, done with great care and effort. This meaning highlights the meticulous and careful attention to detail in performing tasks. It's not just about effort, but about the precision and deliberateness involved. So I'm going to stare at this guy who's doing laborious work for quite a while. Okay, now let's get to examples. In programming, crafting a well-optimized algorithm to solve a complex problem can be laborious but rewarding. In regular life, painting a detailed mural
It also features a beautiful
mural. Painting a detailed mural on a large wall is a laborious undertaking that requires precision. More regular life. Cooking a gourmet meal. Okay, I don't know how to say this word correctly.
Be mad if we show the whole world that you can make gourmet sushi.
Gourmet. Cooking a gourmet meal with multiple courses is a laborious love affair with food. Synonyms. We have two here: painstaking and diligent. Painstaking implies a high level of care and meticulous effort, very close in meaning to laborious, but with an added emphasis on the meticulousness of the task. Diligent suggests careful and persistent work or effort, while similar to laborious, it focuses more on the consistency and perseverance of the effort rather than the sheer amount of effort. Okay, now we've got meaning number 3. Showing signs of effort, not performed smoothly or effortlessly. This shade of laborious is about how an action is performed, clumsily with obvious effort rather than with grace or efficiency. And I'm gonna stare at this pixel art image for a while. Okay, now let's get to the examples. In programming, a beginner programmer's first few projects might run in a laborious manner, lacking the efficiency of more experienced coders. Regular life. A toddler's first steps are often laborious, marked by wobbles and falls. More regular life. My first attempt at knitting was laborious, resulting in a scarf full of holes and uneven stitches. We've got awkward and clumsy synonyms for that meaning. Awkward implies a lack of grace or ease in performance, similar to laborious, but with a focus on the discomfort or ungainliness of the action. Clumsy also shares similarities with laborious in this sense, emphasizing poor coordination or ineptitude in physical or mental tasks. And that was laborious. Now let's get to nitpicking. Meaning number 1, focusing on trivial or minor details. Nitpicking in this context refers to the act of giving too much attention to unimportant details or flaws, often at the expense of overlooking the bigger picture. It implies a sort of unnecessary fuzziness that can be counterproductive. Okay, I'm gonna stare at these two images for a little bit. Let's get to examples in programming. Example number 1. Debating debating over variable naming conventions in a code review while ignoring the overall algorithm efficiency. Okay, this is great, but there is no nitpicking word used in these examples. Okay, I will use examples from the earlier ChatGPT prompts. During the code review, the senior developer spent an hour nitpicking about variable naming conventions instead of focusing on the algorithmic efficiency of the code. Documentation. The contributor's pull request was met with nitpicking over minor typos and formatting issues in the documentation, delaying more critical updates to the software. Design patterns. While discussing the new software architecture, one of the architects started nitpicking on the choice of design patterns, arguing about the theoretical benefits of one over another without considering the practical implications on our project timeline. I want to read the documentation example again. The contributor's pull request was met with nitpicking over minor typos and formatting issues in the documentation, delaying more critical updates to the software. Okay, this word will be quite beneficial. Meaning number 2, excessive criticism. Here, nitpicking refers to overly critical behavior where someone constantly finds faults or makes negative comments about something that might not necessarily require criticism. This can create a negative environment and discourage creativity or effort. Okay. These people are nitpicking over that fellow. I can see, but unfortunately, for some reason, these examples they don't use the word nitpicking. Okay, and I want to get back to synonyms for that meaning. Quibbling usually involves arguing over petty things or minor points, similar to nitpicking, but it often implies a verbal disagreement or argument. Splitting hairs is very close in meaning to nitpicking, but tends to emphasize the idea of making fine or overly subtle distinctions that are unnecessary or irrelevant, often in arguments or discussions. I really like nitpicking, quibbling, and splitting hairs. I think it's going to be very useful for work and making decisions to use these words. Okay, synonyms to excessive criticism. Carp, cavil, what's that?
To light, you can click right here for our bio special about Edith Cavell. Do not forget to like us on Facebook, follow us on...
Let's see the
response to Portnoy's complaint and also cavailing against
cavail. Okay. Cavail. Okay.
To light.
I say that democracy can never prove itself beyond cavil until...
Cavil. Meaning number 3, meticulous attention to detail. In a more positive light, nitpicking can refer to an extremely careful and precise attention to detail, often in situations where such precision is necessary or valued. While it can be seen as fastidious, it sometimes is crucial for success. Again, no usages of the word in the examples. What's wrong with you, ChatGPT? Okay, we've got 2 synonyms. This, which I don't know how to say.
And they're truly punctilious,
Punctilious. So the first one is punctilious. Punctilious refers to paying great attention to detail or correct behavior. Very similar to the positive aspect of nitpicking, but without the negative connotation, emphasizing diligence and care. Fastidious. How do you say this?
Making it right less, being way too fastidious and precious.
Fastidious.
Language early on. My dad was fastidious.
Fastidious. I am saving these 2 synonyms 100%. Fastidious means being very attentive to and concerned about accuracy and detail. It shares the meticulousness of nitpicking, but often carries a sense of excessive particularity that may be seen as fault. Okay, and that was nitpicking. The third word we're gonna discuss today, or I'm gonna learn today, is untangle. Untangle is a vivid word that evokes the action of freeing something or someone from a tangled or complicated state. Its usage stretches across various contexts, from the literal to the metaphorical, illuminating its flexibility and relevance in our daily lives and specialized fields like programming. Here are 3. Meaning number 1, to physically separate entwined objects. In its most straightforward sense, untangle refers to the act of resolving a physical mass like knots in a string or wires. And here are 2 images, but again, we have bad examples. Synonyms: disentangle, unravel. Disentangle similar to untangle, but often used in both physical and abstract senses, implying a more complex process of separation or resolution. Unravel shares similarities with Untangle in the context of separating threads or solving complex problems. However, Unravel can also imply a gradual process of coming apart or understanding something complex. Meaning number 2, to clarify a confusing or complex situation. Untangle also metaphorically describes the process of making a confusing, complex situation, or let me double check how to say complex.
Because in reality, blockchain is a complex technology.
Complex. Okay.
Climate change is one that is happening at such a broad scale and such a complex system.
Complex. Okay. So I was wrong. A confusing, complex situation or problem, clearer and more understandable. Okay, here's the picture that visualizes untangling complex situation. Again, examples are wrong. Synonyms: clarify, decode. Clarify, similar to untangle in the sense of making something clearer, or easier to understand. While clarify is broadly applicable, untangle often suggests dealing with more complexity. Decode shares the sense of interpreting or making clear something that is complex or coded. Decode is more specific to translating coded language or data, while untangle can be used in broader contexts. Okay, meaning number 3, to resolve emotional or relational difficulties. In a more figurative sense, untangle can describe the process of working through emotional or interpersonal conflicts, finding solutions to personal or related issues. I see. Again, no great examples. Synonyms: resolve, disentangle. Okay. Resolve, similar to untangle in its application to solving problems, but resolve is often used in a broader sense, including making decisions or coming to definite conclusions. Disentangle, while it has a physical connotation in this context, it is similar to untangle in working out complicated emotional or relational issues. The main difference lies in disentangle, often suggesting a process of extraction or separation from a mix of problems or emotions. And that's it for today. We discussed Laborious, Nitpicking, and Untangle. I like them all because they all are very work related and can be useful to communicate with colleagues. Okay, bye-bye.